Hello everyone, Satnam.
Ram Ram.
We are currently in Joshua Tree in a cute little nook, and we're going to answer some of the questions you guys sent in for us.
Yes, you guys asked us on Instagram and on Twitter, so we're going to go ahead and answer those just to satisfy your curiosity. And we also did a video a few days back on my channel about breaking up and how to go about it consciously if you're ever in a space where you need to end a relationship. So
I'm just going to take this hat off.
Yeah. The wind defeated Krystal's hat. So.
Okay, first question.
What was the defining point that started your spiritual journey?
So I had a couple catalysts, I guess, to my journey. First one was when I was about 16. When I was young, I was pretty obsessed with materials and my looks and all that stuff. So I was reading a book on fitness and dieting, and it went over veganism, and I didn't know about veganism until that book. So I was crying because I didn't ever know about factory farms, and I never put it together that my pets are the same things that I'm eating. So once I thought of that, I started thinking, okay, if society or something as big as the food industry is lying to me, what else are they lying to me about? And
what else do I not know?
Yeah, so I started looking into all these things, and I guess some conspiracies as well. And then the next thing was I didn't grow up with a lot of money, so I was always chasing that, and I was lucky enough to come into money when I was pretty young to realize that it actually made me the most unhappy that I've ever been. That was the point that I realized I was going to start traveling the world and figure out what there is to this life.
What it all really is about.
Yeah, because I didn't really feel that my Western society was leading me in the truthful direction. So that's how it started for me.
Which it's not. Yeah,
I found out it's not.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think most of us find out when we start searching. I think when people say, what started your spiritual journey, it really just means what made you aware of the truth of life, because life is the journey. The spiritual journey is our existence. It just depends whether or not we awaken to that in this incarnation. For me, that took crashing into a tree when I was drunk at 18 and going to jail for me to really have that kind of karmic impact, to sit back and go, wow, I'm not bulletproof. I'm not getting exactly what I want in life. This reality was not tailor-made for my desires, and I had to really sit back and try to understand what it was all about. And
you had the time to yourself too.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it was
exactly.
Actually a blessing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Being in jail is kind of like, I tell people it's like monastic living. It's white walls, the same outfit, the same meals, the same shows, the same books. It's very repetitive, so your mind has to always be going inside if it's not focused on those little things. And when I was in there, I found a book called The Tao of Pooh, which is a really simple illustrative book on the way, on Taoism, which I had a little bit of information in my own mind about already when I was researching Buddhism beforehand. But that's really kind of kicked me into the curiosity, I guess, of what my true nature was and what this whole thing was. And that's where all of it started for me.
And I have read that some people who spent a significant amount of time in jail have said that they actually found their freedom there, surprisingly. Not saying that we recommend going to jail.
No. Yeah, but I mean, if you ever watch those documentaries like on Netflix or anything, they'll have people that are doing life that have been there for 35 years, and they're just, they seem happier than people that are living free lives. Yeah. And that's because they found the truth of just being, their eternal nature, oddly enough.
Wild. Do you two plan on having kids and settling down in the future?
Yes.
Yes, next question.
Yeah, I definitely want kids. We both want kids.
Yeah. We have a few things we would like to accomplish first, travels, but if it happens, it happens. We're both open to it as well.
Now, I know a lot of people, getting into spirituality always talk about, having kids is selfish and it leaves a carbon footprint. But the reality of it is that life is going to continue going on. The biological purpose of the body is to reproduce, to keep creating. So I think it's irresponsible, for me at least, this is my opinion, I think it's irresponsible when you have a kind of awareness of how things can change and how you can help better the world, not to try to also bring your children into the world so they can assist that process too, so they can live their life consciously. If we continued having kids and the world started, more conscious people, I guess, had more kids, it would speed up that process, hopefully. It's kind of like the opposite of the plot of Idiocracy, where all the low IQ people have tons of kids and the smart people don't have kids or have one kid, and the world just kind of descends into chaos.
Yeah, I honestly didn't want to have kids for many years because I traveled and I was concentrated with a lot of negative things in the world. And I'm like, I don't know what way the world's going, so I'm not sure if I want to bring another life into this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my friend pointed out to me, well, Krystal, this is what the world needs, is people that are awake to have more children. Otherwise, yeah, exactly what you said.
Yeah, plus,
So,
you know, if you have the opportunity to give someone the experience of human consciousness, why not do that? I remember I was reading something online where Gary Vaynerchuk, who's like somebody who focuses more so on the business side of things, but he says the statistical odds of coming into existence, living, is 1 in 400 trillion. You know, so living is the most special thing we can have. It's our experience of this little blip of existence in the human form. So why wouldn't you want to give, if you have the opportunity to, another being that possibility? And having children's a way to do that.
And it's a pretty sacred and beautiful thing to share it with someone you love.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we can literally create life together.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Magic. So the next question is, do you think it's anti-spiritual to want to look a certain way? What are your opinions on things like investing in your appearance, jewelry, tattoos, the clothes you wear, etc.?
Well, I have a video on this actually, specifically on makeup and tattoos. Our bodies are our temples, and how would you treat a temple? You want to decorate it and celebrate it. When I first started my journey, I was following a path where they really told me to just step away from all of that. And I did. I didn't wear makeup. I didn't have extensions. I've worn hair extensions for a long time. And at the end of the day, I just didn't feel like myself because I wasn't celebrating the body I'm in. So once I learned more of Tantra, and it's really about embracing the physical, then I felt like myself. I found myself through that.
In a similar vein, what I practice is Vedanta. And Vedanta teaches us, as long as we know that we are beyond the body and mind, why would you not?
As long as there's no attachment.
Exactly. So for me, I know this body will fade one day, that this conscious perspective as koi will fade one day. So what have I done? I do what I want to do to use this temple in a way that can assist me. So I get tattoos, not for others, but because they're for me. They're tools for me. The same way we write in a notebook or read notes before a test. This experience, these are my notes. These kind of help me. How I feel like looking is just how I like to look in a way that makes me not focus too much on myself. You know, if we have things about us that we don't like, if we can understand that we are not the body, but we still have a bit of the ego wrapped up in the things it dislikes about the body, which can take a long time to get rid of, it's okay to work with that to make it less of a focus in your mind. Because once that's taken care of, you're not thinking about it anymore, and you can focus on what truly matters, such as the awakening process, coming into your true nature, things like that. So I think it's better to be in that space where you enjoy the temple, embrace it, so that you don't have to worry about the temple, you know, all the time. So it's totally fine, but the intention is the biggest thing, knowing that you are not the body, that you are not the mind, and this is just a vessel for the experience.
Would your kids go to school or be homeschooled? Because I know the education system is BS.
And that's why they wouldn't go to public school.
Yeah, we would definitely homeschool. I would definitely make sure to put my child in healthy activities with other children so they're not isolated from group activities.
And that's because that's where the problems occur. People are like, oh, if you homeschool them, you isolate them. Well, that's only if all you let them do is be homeschooled. Of course, there's so many after-school activities, sports, creative arts, things like that. Once you know what your kids kind of find interest in, there are definitely those things they can do, you know, when other kids get out of school. But as for the whole process of education, we're gonna be teaching them ourselves.
And travel too.
When
I was traveling, I volunteered all around the world, and I got so excited when I met families that were bringing their young children to volunteer in undeveloped countries.
Yeah,
it
and
was beautiful.
If you have
and they were the smartest little children, like amazing.
If you have the potential to travel with your children, I think it's something that you should definitely do, because I remember in high school I knew a couple of kids that lived on military bases and would travel around, and just the traveling itself gives you it's so much knowledge you get from different cultures, different areas, different ways of living that help build you into, I think, a more complete and aware person of the way people live.
And humble.
Yeah, exactly. My mom is a principal, so I have always had a first-hand and kind of backstage access to seeing how the public school system works. And it's really, unfortunately, it's about meeting quotas, getting the right amount of kids to pass the right amount of tests. One of the big things that was a movement in Florida was No Child Left Behind, but that did a lot of damage over the past decade because it emphasized more focus on the kids who were lacking and less focus on the kids who were excelling. And the people who excel in society, even in the system, are the ones that really start to change the world. When we try to basically marginalize everyone to an average, it's when we're kind of holding people back. So I think if you have the ability to take care of your kids and you think you have the ability to teach them well, you might as well do that, because a lot of these teachers are being paid $20,000 a year, which is almost below minimum. It's crazy. They make no money. So they don't really have the motivation, say, that you would to, educate your own child.
Yeah, and the curriculum doesn't even make sense.
The curriculums, there's a lot of...
like, I still don't know how to do my taxes, but I know how to do all these crazy, like, 20-step...
right? I know, like, who initiated World War I, but I don't know how I'm supposed to do, sole proprietorship information the correct way. Plus, in schooling systems, they have a box of what can be talked about versus what can't.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids, no matter what, they're going to be sheltered from certain things. When you're teaching them, there's no box. You can teach them about whatever you want, how you want to, give them the truth, help them see the world as it is, not in a nationalized or patriotized way from their country they're being, taught in. I've read a lot of stuff online about this, and in the U.S., we talk about how we never lost a war, but in reality, we lost the war in Vietnam. Whereas they've talked about, kids in Japan talking about how they don't learn much about losing World War II.
Yeah.
It's just, it's all propagandized in a lot of subtle ways.
Yeah, and I'm actually working on a project right now that's for sexual education, mainly targeted at young women, but also young men, and I'll be talking about it more soon. Basically, there's no proper sexual education in school, and not many children have guidance through puberty.
Yeah, because the Western world makes it a taboo thing.
Yeah.
You have that to look forward to from her.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
All right, next question. When you're lost in life, whether it be school or relationships, what steps would you take in order to step back and analyze what's wrong or allowing you to fall into those spaces?
Of course, I would definitely say just look within yourself for the answers, and everyone says it, but it's true. I would take a step back, meditate, journal, get to the root problem, because a lot of issues in your life could be coming from within. Maybe something you're bottling up.
And like what we've discovered, most of them kind of stem from one or two root problems. Like for me, it's just resistance and not wanting to budge on the way I see things, in certain lights. And that can cause me problems when it comes to learning from others or adjusting the way I do certain things. So if you can find those usually 1, 2, or 3 root areas that are just stopping you and holding you back, those are the things that you can learn to solve them, which can be a process in its own right. It doesn't have to happen overnight. It can take months, years. Once you learn to solve those, that can kind of release the floodgates and help you come back into your true self, your divine space.
Will Coy be joining you in Canada at some point?
Yeah, I hope so. I definitely want to go to Canada.
You definitely will.
I need to see Canada.
Do some van life for a bit and probably travel all through Canada and America. Coy's just waiting for his lease to end, and I have some stuff to do back home. Visit family for a few months. So this fall, we plan to drive around a bit through North America.
We'll be hosting like workshops, doing yoga, meditation, lecture workshops.
And I'll be doing a book tour, and you might be too.
Yeah, exactly. We both have books in the works. So this fall, going into winter and the early next year, is going to be a lot of just traveling around most of the entire North American continent. So expect us if you live...
Teaching and meeting you guys.
Yeah. Awesome. So if you guys live in North America, anywhere in US or Canada, just stay up to date.
Last question. What are some of your personal flaws that you need to work on in a relationship?
That's a good question. Because we should all, if we're in relationships, ask ourselves those questions.
And be aware of them, yeah.
I think a big problem is that a lot of people in relationships just want to say, I'm infallible, or like everything about me is okay, and the issues are with that person.
Yeah, it's definitely important to take ownership of your own flaws as well.
Yeah.
And work on them together, if possible.
Yeah, I'd say my flaws are, selfishness in the sense that I'm a workaholic, so I put a lot of, my teachings and like writing and filming in front of just enjoying daily life in a lot of times, and that's something I've been I'm going to continue trying to work my way out of, just because I'm so used to creating, 3-4 videos a week and writing these books and shipping out orders, so I get much too into a workaholic state of mind, and that causes selfishness in its own right. So that's something I'm trying to be more mindful of now.
I think I can be insensitive at times. In the way that I speak. I think I'm pretty honest.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really have a filter at times. I don't really sugarcoat things.
Yeah.
And then I feel really bad after. I'm like, I could have worded that a lot.
Well, it's just that,
but...
I mean, that's a problem I think a lot of us have, though, is we get caught up in just getting it said, getting it out, and we forget to be compassionate every once in a while. But it's not
or
really
we keep it in too much.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just about keeping that compassion at the forefront.
Finding a happy medium, too.
Yeah, exactly. All the time, and just continuing to be open and change.
Thank you guys for your beautiful questions. This is the last time, well, not the last time we'll be doing Q&A, but I'm heading to Canada next week, so it's our last Q&A for a little while.
Yeah, for about 3 or 4 months. maybe more, hopefully not. But
Yeah.
yeah, until then, we will see you guys later, and hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Satnam.
Ram Ram.